Good evening, Ascend family and friends. My name is Zach Hang, and I have the honor to serve as the president for the Greater Washington chapter of Ascend. On behalf of our board of directors and our executive board, I'd like to welcome you to the 2020 Year in Review event. For those who are unfamiliar with Ascend, we are the largest nonprofit for Pan-Asian business professionals in North America, with over 60 professional and student chapters across the US and Canada, dedicated to enhancing the presence and influence of current and future Pan-Asian business leaders, while serving as a collective voice for Pan-Asian business communities. Ascend is the only organization of its kind focused on one's career journey, beginning as a student all the way to the C-suite. And for those who have supported us over the years as members and partners, you know that we typically be hosting a big end-of-the-year holiday party. But as you all know, this has not been a typical year, and we've experienced continuous challenges like so many of you. Still, we were able to achieve a lot, alongside so many of our valued corporate and community partners. To help share some of our highlights is our Deputy Vice President of Community Relations, Aimee.
Thank you for the introduction, Zach, and thank you all for joining us here virtually at our 2020 Year in Review event. I'm sure, as many of you feel, this has been quite the year. Personally, when I think back on a year at the end of the year, I'm like, okay, there has been some ups and downs in the year, but overall, it's been a pretty good year. This year, I felt that I could count my personal achievements on one hand, maybe, but overall, it was a pretty tough year. But to find meaning in this chaotic year, I think it's really important for us to pause on the lessons that we have learned and reflect on how we have grown, not only as an individual, but as a community as a whole. And when I think about my takeaways for the year, I ask myself, what are you most proud of that you accomplished this year? How have your relationships grown and evolved? And if I could go back in time and tell the 2019 version of myself some advice, what would I tell her? So after pondering and mulling over these questions, I felt that my biggest takeaways for the year were that we are stronger together as a community. Self-care is a priority. Protect your energy. It is very valuable. And it's very important to be intentional with what we say, what we do. So as you all ponder and think about what your biggest takeaways for the year, I'm really excited to have some of our chapter leaders share what theirs are. Thank you.
My biggest takeaway in 2020 has to be that life is precious and not to be taken for granted. With technology connecting us 24/7, there isn't a reason in the world that you can't check in on the ones that mean the most to you. We all have professional roles and personal goals, but let's not forget those who made us who we are. Family, friends, mentors, and everyone in between. Ascend's mission has always been to empower the Pan-Asian community to confidently face professional adversity. But the year has taught us how to face ourselves, literally looking at ourselves in the computer in virtual meetings. One thing is certain, any challenge that I encounter, I want to tackle it with all of you.
Hi, I'm Liz Benson, and I'm the Secretary of the Ascend Greater Washington Chapter. My biggest takeaway from 2020 is that allyship is more important now than ever. From the Black and African American, Hispanic, and LGBTQ communities, we need to work together to advance and promote one another in the workplace. Moreover, Pan-Asians are still significantly underrepresented in the C-suite and boardrooms. Unfortunately, this trend is barely declining, so we still have a lot of room to grow. Through work of Ascend and others, I think that we can address this on an individual as well as a group basis. I look forward to the prospect of 2021 and addressing these issues together with other minorities as well as within the Pan-Asian community.
Hello, my name is Winston Heng, and I'm a board member of Ascend Greater Washington Area Chapter. In 2020, my biggest takeaway was the passion and commitment of our local chapter board and the resiliency of our Ascend members and Pan-Asian community. Despite the challenges, we were able to deliver meaningful professional development and leadership programs for our members and corporate partners, and we were able to help address critical issues in our community. So to our board, thank you so much for your leadership, and to our members and community, thank you for your contribution and participation. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Yes, we hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. We're going to take you back in time as we share some of our chapter's highlights from this year. Our first and only in-person, pre-pandemic event that kicked off the year was our Lunar New Year banquet. We celebrated the incoming Year of the Rat at China Garden in Rockville, Maryland over a 10-course Chinese wedding-style meal. The Washington Chinese Youth Club performed a traditional lion dance, and University of Maryland's Tianyi dance team expressed their passion through traditional and Chinese dance. We raffled off various prizes where a portion of the profits were provided to Pratham, a nonprofit organization that provides education to 16 million kids every year in villages across India. A huge thank you to all of our corporate and community sponsors for supporting the event.
The 2020 Inspiring Across Generations Awards recognize exemplary contributions that support and demonstrate a commitment to diversity and inclusion for Pan-Asian business professionals through diverse efforts such as recruitment and retention, teaching, research, multicultural programming, cultural competency, and community outreach activities, among so many others.
Among our student chapters and student leaders, we are excited to recognize an exemplary individual for our Ascend Student Leader Award. The award is presented to an individual who is actively supporting the Pan-Asian community at his or her school and/or within the community in leadership roles. This year, we are so excited and humbled to award this recognition to an individual who has helped the community in many different ways during the COVID-19 pandemic. Working with Pratham India team, this individual has embarked on a transformational project to enable imparting education through digital platforms. She designed a curriculum for computational thinking, and after working days and nights for 6 months, was able to successfully launch the project in 60 villages in India. Recognizing the significant concerns surrounding mental health during the pandemic, she has also decided to conduct online singing lessons for the South Asian community to alleviate people's anxiety and stress. She leverages her TV show, The Musical Mind, on Fox 5 to share information on how everyone can adopt the therapeutic benefits of music with the community. Additionally, working with the Arts for the Aging, AFTA, she's impacted elderly patients all around of all backgrounds in the DC area by uplifting their moods and spirits through immersion in arts and music. During the pandemic, the elderly population has been even more isolated than ever before, and the music therapy has helped them immensely. Ladies, gentlemen, and all, we are excited to announce the winner of this award to Shreya Bhatia.
Hello everyone, my name is Shreya Bhatia. I just recently graduated from Duke University. I'm taking classes now at the Berklee College of Music, and I'm an aspiring physician. Thank you very much for presenting me with the Student Leader Award for this year's Ascend Inspiring Across Generations Awards. I am so humbled and honored to be receiving this award from the prestigious organization Ascend, which is so committed to helping the Asian community at large. It has been such a privilege to work with Pratham. I always felt blessed for the education that I have received. So when I learned about Pratham's mission to educate underprivileged children, I felt it was my calling to join such a noble cause. After volunteering locally for a while, I decided to visit a slum area in rural India and teach children myself. When I realized that these children had such high dreams and aspirations, but lived with so many constraints, it became clear that I had to do more. Not just for those kids, but the millions more like them. During the COVID-19 pandemic this year, I wanted to be part of the initiatives that ensured that these children were still receiving quality educational resources. So I began volunteering for the digital team and building a course in computational thinking that could be delivered to children across India through digital platforms. I worked days and nights with an international team so that we could continue providing education to these kids. And I'm so proud that the course has already launched in 60 villages across India. It feels very rewarding to have made such a large impact thus far, but the journey definitely does not end here. I want to continue to give back to vulnerable populations, not just in India, but around the world. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude again to Ascend for recognizing my efforts. It is a huge motivation to keep doing what I have been doing and continue moving forward. I am inspired by all that Ascend does for our community, and for everyone here today, I would encourage you to find your passion or your calling and go after opportunities to give back as well.
Congratulations again to Shreya Bhatia on receiving this prestigious award. We are so excited to see all that you will accomplish in the coming years.
2020 has been a really difficult year, to say the least. The US started feeling the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic when we went into quarantine back in March. Many of us were very fortunate to be able to start working from home right away. Our main concerns were probably only focused on when we could see our friends again, and also maybe waking up on time. However, many other people faced more troubling concerns. For example, businesses lost significant revenue flow and had to shut down. Hospitals were jam-packed trying to handle the rise in COVID testing and hospitalization. In particular, our Pan-Asian community was faced with racist and discriminatory attacks due to how COVID-19 has been racialized in the media. As a nonprofit organization, Ascend immediately began working on a way to address these concerns. As a result, Ascend began partnering with Feed Your Hospital back in March, which is a nationwide nonprofit that delivers meals to frontline COVID-19 healthcare workers by supporting local Asian restaurants most impacted by the pandemic. As a result, I'm happy to note that our Ascend GW chapter immediately saw the potential in this initiative and launched our own local Feed Your Hospital chapter soon after in order to help support our hospitals and restaurants in our local DMV community. Throughout the year, our local Feed Your Hospital team was actively fundraising and coordinating with local restaurants and hospitals to schedule meal deliveries. We kicked off this initiative in late April with a humble goal of $10,000. Well, we are so excited to announce that we doubled our goal and came out with over $20,000 donated by September. One thing that was important to our team was that we didn't just do a one-and-done delivery. This wouldn't have really helped the hospital workers, and it wouldn't have provided much economic relief to our restaurant owners. Because of the outpouring of donations, we were actually able to go back 2, 3, and 4 times with each of our partners and provide continued support throughout the year.
Hi, my name is Zach Hang from the Ascend Greater Washington Feed Your Hospital.
Hello, this is Aimee from Ascend Greater Washington chapter's Feed Your Hospital.
I'm excited to share that we have delivered over 2,000 meals to 10 hospitals around the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Over the past 5 months, we have raised over $20,000 to support 11 Asian-owned restaurants.
Thanks to all of you who supported us throughout this initiative.
We couldn't have done it without you.
Our Feed Your Hospital initiative was definitely one of the chapter's biggest accomplishments this year. And in that regard, we are so excited to announce our next award recipient for the 2020 Ascend GW IAG Awards. Our Rising Star Award recognizes a junior professional who is actively supporting the Pan-Asian community at work and within the community. This individual has supported 3 of the pillars of the Ascend Greater Washington. Community partnership through her co-lead role for the chapter's Feed Your Hospital initiative, administrative support in her role stepping up as the Deputy VP for Financial Analysis, and supporting the professional development pillar through her career aspirations column. This individual has been a role model in how a volunteer member can have high impact and further become a rising star by enhancing her volunteer efforts in a leadership position on the Ascend GW Executive Board. Despite only being part of the executive board for less than a year, she has had significant and immediate impact on our chapter's operations and mission. We are happy to announce that the Rising Star Award this year goes to Michelle Lee. Thank you for all your contributions.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle, and I am so honored and thankful to be selected for the Rising Star category in the 2020 IAG Awards. This year has been a truly difficult one for us all, but I'm so grateful to our Ascend family for rising up and executing multiple initiatives and programs this year to keep our members connected. While I may be new to the Ascend GW board, I first heard of Ascend through my brother back in 2019. I asked him how I could get involved, and I was immediately connected with our amazing professional development committee. I was able to learn more about Ascend's mission as well as its impact through my volunteer efforts, and I got to connect with many professionals on our career inspiration advice column. Fast forward to this year, I joined the Ascend board within the finance committee. I'm thankful for the privilege of continuing to work with multiple committees and leaders across the Ascend family through this role. I'm also grateful to Aimee and our community relations committee for spearheading our partnership with Feed Your Hospital that enabled us to support restaurants while also feeding our frontline healthcare workers during these tough times. Through our efforts, I was able to see how our community truly cares and comes together for a common goal. Thank you to everyone for their teamwork, and I look forward to working with you in the near future.
Congratulations again to Michelle Lee on receiving this much-deserved award. We appreciate all that you've done for Ascend and the Pan-Asian community in this past year. This year, we celebrated Asian Pacific American Heritage Month slightly different than we usually do. We partnered with 10 other organizations in the DC community and hosted a series of celebration events to honor Asian American Pacific Islander communities.
The history of Asians in the U.S. is incredible. We have rich traditions, diversity, and cultures.
We're represented by over 60 ethnicities and speak over 70 languages.
At this difficult and unprecedented time, community is needed.
Usually we would be gathering in person, but we can't right now.
Which is why now, more than ever, we need to show up for each other.
This year, we can still dream big despite these circumstances.
That means coming together.
To give thanks to those who came before us, knowing that we can achieve greatness in the face of adversity.
Imagining who we can become without limits, and taking pride in who we are.
Join us
to celebrate
Asian Pacific American Heritage Month.
Together.
During Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, 9 of the organizations mentioned before partnered together to kick off a fundraiser. Artist Jennifer Kimura designed 2 different versions of a solidarity t-shirt to show our shared heritage and our stand against violence and discrimination against the AAPI community. All proceeds were donated to Ascend GW's Feed Your Hospital initiative to help feed healthcare workers during the COVID-19 pandemic and Asian Americans advancing justice to fight against victims of discrimination and hate.
This is Charles here. On behalf of Helen and everyone on the Career Insights Data Challenge team, I'd like to provide a year-in review. We launched the event building on last year's hackathon, looking for collaboration among participating members and the ability to build on insights over time. We also use a research framework which encouraged sharing of ideas as well as learning from data through prototyping and from each other using a robust common analytics platform.
So throughout this data challenge, we were able to leverage Bureau of Labor Statistics occupational data to try to understand a little bit more about where Asian Americans fall when it comes to how many of us represent a particular job category. So one of the things we found was that Asian Americans are really well represented in a lot of STEM roles. Despite being only 6% of the national population, we occupy at least 15 or more percent of roles such as computer hardware assistants, statisticians, computer programmers, and database administrators. We use Spot IQ, the machine learning algorithm from ThoughtSpot, to identify some of these trends and patterns. And it was really cool to see that these were sort of the fields that Asian Americans chose to concentrate in. On the other end, Spot IQ also told us that there were several fields where non-Hispanic whites were underrepresented. Now, nationally, non-Hispanic whites typically comprise of 75% of the American population, and out of the several hundred, almost 500 different occupational categories that were carved out by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the vast majority of these occupations had at least 50% of all these workers in a single occupation being non-Hispanic white. There were only 4 that we identified through Spot IQ that was under that mark. And these are more of your traditional labor categories. So taxi drivers, chauffeurs, postal workers, and postal clerks were a couple of the occupations where we saw that non-Hispanic whites were underrepresented. So it just goes to show that with a little bit of help, we could understand a really large database relatively quickly and also visualize them effectively.
This is Hannah. I'm here to introduce some of our analysis from the dashboard. One of the first key findings that we've discovered is that the University of California, Berkeley has the highest average salary in the States. The second key finding is that there are large discrepancies between male and female executives. The discrepancy ratio is 2-to-1. And the third key finding is that top 10 earning professions fall into healthcare industry within the DC metro market.
Hello everyone, my name is Vivian. I'm the IT project manager from the public sector. It's really a great pleasure to be part of Ascend Data Challenge team. Help community finding the insights through exploring new ideas and also trying different practices. Currently, we have 2 main takeaways from a current initiative. First, finding relevant and tangible datasets are not easy, and also datasets have to be usable. If no one has used this dataset before, we had to prepare for the worst. In order to mitigate the risk, the data audit is highly recommended. Second, having an automated discovery mechanism is really the way of the future. That's why AI and machine learning come to play. With cost-effective findings with human validation, we certainly can ensure the accuracy of results with quality. Thank you.
On behalf of the Data Challenge team, we'd love to invite you to explore the data with us and come up with new ideas of future research to support Pan-Asian community career development. Thank you to our volunteers, sponsors, members, and advocates for your contribution to 2020 Data Challenge. Our effort goes on. We look forward to more fruitful findings and community building in 2021.
While our primary focus is to provide resources to our members and partners to advance Pan-Asian leaders, we have much to work on as it relates to including underrepresented groups to educate each other on the most critical issues relating to the empowerment of minorities overall. With the increased social unrest, Ascend's ACT initiative was born out of the realization that we need to take a more proactive approach to allyship. Many of you joined us for a multifaceted journey that began in the summer to participate in conversations around racial equality and create safe environments for discussion of race relations that impact us personally and in the workplace. I, alongside many of Ascend's national leaders, developed a series to bring together passionate leaders representing multiple industries and every career level from students to executives. Part of this initiative is the ACT Survey, which aims to gather data and derive insights that facilitate the following goals. 1. Create safe space race-oriented conversations locally and nationally across US and Canada. 2. Build awareness of cross-generational intersectionality and be impact-oriented. 3. Highlight Pan-Asian workforce perspectives and experiences. 4th, change the dialogue, Pan-Asians as solutions creators. And lastly, produce insights and data as catalysts for companies to focus actions and investments. Since the conclusion of the first round of chapter-led conversations, we have hosted the Allyship Forum at Ascend's 2020 Virtual National Convention, met with executives from some of the biggest global brands to further the conversation, and gathered an incredible amount of data that will culminate in a white paper that is slated to be published early next year, in addition to continued forums and conversations around allyship. I'd like to thank all of you who have participated in and supported this initiative since its inception. Trust that Ascend will continue to be a thought leader in driving the necessary conversations in collaboration with our valued partners so that the Pan-Asian community is well represented.
Hi everyone, my name is Tina Cooper. I'm the Vice President for Professional Development with Ascend's Greater Washington chapter. This year, I'm super proud to have launched the mentorship program together with our membership committee. It's a unique program because we're not pairing people one-on-one with mentors and mentees, but rather we've brought together groups of people from all levels of experience and different industries as well, so that you have broader networking capabilities, and you also have the opportunity to brainstorm on how to get past career challenges with multiple perspectives.
My favorite part about the mentoring program is when both mentor and mentees are sharing their perspectives and experiences, which leads to new insights and professional growth.
The Ascend Mentorship Program was a great program for anybody looking for career growth or simply making friends. I liked it more than a traditional one-on-one program because now we are paired with 3-4 other mentors and mentees, and we get to learn about different experiences and different backgrounds. Our conversations are very diverse and we always have a great time. This was especially helpful during the pandemic when we are all craving personal connections and relationships. Thank you so much for putting it together.
Our next award recipient for the 2020 Ascend GW IAG Awards has supported our chapter tirelessly over the last 2 years. Under this individual's oversight, the financial acumen of the Greater Washington chapter has enhanced and is now viewed as a leader amongst the other Ascend chapters. He frequently communicates with the Ascend National Director and National Office to develop best practices and routines. Furthermore, he supports the Denver chapter of Ascend informally as the new chapter sets up their financial governance. This past year, he has also supported the IAG Steering Committee and provided key advisor insights for the GW Feed Your Hospital initiative. Over the year, he has crafted a powerful message of how the Pan-Asian community can drive change by educating why Asians are underrepresented in the executive workforce, seeking opportunities in industries and locations that have higher jobs with Asian participation, and focusing on developing future mid-level managers to increase the pipeline for future executives. The High Impact Leader Award is awarded to a mid-level professional who is taking the initiative as a proactive leader supporting the Pan-Asian community at work as well as in the community. We are honored to welcome Michael Lee as our High Impact Leader for the 2020 year. Congratulations.
Hello, I'm Michael Lee, and I'm honored to accept the Ascend High Impact Leader 2020 IAG Award. This is quite the honor to be recognized as a Pan-Asian leader for our great community, and I'm quite humbled by the distinction. I strongly credit my journey to Ascend by two individuals, Ahida Kabir and Zach Kang. Ahida personally introduced me to Ascend a couple of years ago when we had first met at PwC together by accident, which set me on the journey to starting with Ascend on the professional development committee when Ahida was spearheading and leading it. And later then competing in the 2019 DC Hackathon at the National Convention that Ahida helped co-lead. Then later, Zach recruited me for the treasurer role, and supporting him and the mission of Ascend to be a cornerstone life cycle development organization for Pan-Asians has been a true highlight of my professional experience. I thank Ascend, the IAG team, and the Year in Review Committee for pulling this event together and for this award. 2020 was a challenging year for all of us, but only together each of us can achieve great things and all be high impactful leaders. Sometimes it is by chance, like how I met Ahida. Sometimes it's a call to action, like how Zach reached out to me. I humbly accept this award with all of the help from the mentors and coaches and the leadership they led and spearheaded me to become a leader today. But before I close, I'm going to end with a quote from Helen Keller that I believe best summarizes my time with Ascend and crystallizes this award. Alone, we can do so little, but together we can do so much. Thank you all.
Congratulations again to Michael Lee on receiving the High Impact Leader Award. Thank you for all that you have contributed to Ascend this past year and years to come.
Hello, my name is Zumi Zain, and I'm the Program Director for Women of Ascend. This program connects members through a series of community events which facilitate discussion and enhances visibility for the accomplishments and expertise of Pan-Asian female leaders. WOA provides opportunities for collaboration, education, recognition, and inspiration focused on improving the climate for advancing women.
Ascend's Greater Washington chapter, together with presenting sponsor EY, hosted a stirring panel discussion regarding the challenges professional Pan-Asian women face in the workplace. Women of Ascend panelists opened up about their personal struggles and how they overcame them on their way to becoming executives. The panel also shared practical advice for audience members. For example, being willing to ask for help, being willing to self-promote, seeking mentors and sponsors, requesting feedback, and making sure that you pay it forward for the next generation. The panel was moderated by Alex Gurney, principal from EY, along with speakers Mina Ringler, the co-founder and chief operating officer of Piedmont Fund Services, Nalima Reddy, the managing vice president of Capital One's audit unit, and Aimee Meher Homji, the vice president of talent acquisition at Sodexo.
Our next 2020 IAG Award goes to an individual who has consistently made positive and significant contributions and has demonstrated great dedication to advance Pan-Asian causes and mentoring future Pan-Asian professional talent. Our Inspirational Leader Award recipient is that type of leader that inspires others not only through her words, but her actions. She has contributed greatly over the years to the Ascend mission and causes. During the pandemic, she donated directly to support restaurant and hospital partners, providing both strategic guidance and mentorship to the chapter's feature hospital team. She spent hours collaborating and supporting the volunteer team, attending weekly calls, developing social media posts and communications, and reviewing grant applications. We are humbled to present our Inspirational Leader Award to Jeanette Chu.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Ascend Greater Washington Chapter's 2020 Year in Review. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I am deeply humbled to be one of this year's IAG Award recipients. But when I opened Aimee's email, my first thought was, this must be a mistake, because this is just not me. And truth be told, this Inspiring Leader Award belongs to so many people, including my fellow board members, Ascend and Feed Your Hospital volunteers and donors, the entire Ascend network, and the community that surrounds and uplifts us. Leadership does not happen in a vacuum. Inspiration works the same way. It must have the actions of others to be real, to come to life. In a very literal sense, inspiration must stimulate feelings so strong, so deep, that they can only come out through actions. To be an inspiring leader is something that lies within each one of us. It is also a tremendous responsibility. Inspiring leadership takes form with every choice we make. When we choose justice and equity, care and kindness, great things happen. We are inspired, and then we inspire those around us. When we lead, we hold up a mirror and show someone their best self. We reflect greatness in one another. As we take this time to look back on a crazy, tumultuous, and sometimes scary 2020, I hope everyone will think of the times that they found themselves moved to action. Remember when you inspired someone else. Perhaps it was even one of the healthcare heroes whom we were able to reach through Feed Your Hospital. Maybe that meal made it possible to hang on for another hour, another shift, one more patient. For our restaurant partners, maybe that meal turned the day's receipts from red to black, and our Feed Your Hospital order helped keep the doors open for another service. Please, above all, remember the times when you were the light, the inspiration, the leader. So lift that mirror high. Let it catch and magnify the light. Be the inspirational leader. On behalf of all of you, it is my very great honor to accept this year's Inspirational Leader Award. Thank you and have a wonderful evening and year ahead. May you and the ones you love remain healthy and safe always. Thank you.
Congratulations again to Jeanette Chu. Thank you for all of your support, time, and energy that you have provided to our Ascend GW chapter and the Pan-Asian community this year, and for overall being such an inspirational leader to so many different generations.
Hi, my name is Dine, and I had the honor of serving as co-chair in planning this year's Inspiring Across Generations conference, along with Liz Benson and Hugh Nguyen. This year, IAG was a bit different and was hosted completely virtual for the first time. While planning and hosting a conference virtually had its challenges, it was well worth it. We were able to be joined by participants all over the country, and we had the opportunity to collaborate with Ascend's New England chapter. Our 2020 Inspiring Across Generations conference brought together students, professionals, and our corporate and community partners to discuss evolving definitions of diversity and inclusion and impacts to our career development, personal growth, and communities. We were joined by 167 registrants and were able to feature Bismarck Myrick, the Director of Office of Equal Employment Opportunity and Diversity of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and Nettie Perez, the Human Resources and Global Head of Diversity and Inclusion of McCormick & Company, as our keynote speakers. I'd like to thank all the speakers, the IAG Planning and Steering Committees, the Greater Washington and New England board members, our corporate sponsors, and all the participants and guests for helping make our virtual IAG a success. In addition to our 4 awards to individuals at their different professional and career levels, we also recognize an Ascend GW chapter corporate partner that has made the largest overall positive impact on our operations, functions, and initiatives of the Ascend GW chapter throughout the past year. This organization has made efforts to promote awareness and encourage participation in our chapter's activities and events throughout the year. Their leaders have been supporting the chapter executive board in community relations, professional developments, and operations over the past 2 years. This organization and its firm's leaders have consistently engaged and supported chapter initiatives from coordinating firm-wide marketing communications for Feed Your Hospital to identifying speakers for the Ascend IAG conference. We're excited to continue to partner with this organization. Our 2020 Ascend IAG Corporate Partnership Award recipient is Grant Thornton. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Helen Liu, and I lead the Pan-Asian Allies Business Research Group at Grant Thornton's Metro DC office, and I'm honored to accept the 2020 Ascend Greater Washington Chapter Corporate Sponsorship Award on Grant Thornton's behalf. I would like to take this time to recognize some of my colleagues whose contributions have led to this wonderful result. Let me start first with those who were key players in recent IAG conferences. Thank you to Tony Scardino, Tina Cooper, Will Curtis, Arpan Bhattacharya, Lisa Preston, and Jennifer Yuen for facing one of the most common fears known to humanity, public speaking. Grant Thornton is also proud of our employees who serve on the Ascend Greater Washington Chapter Executive Board. Tina Cooper as the Vice President of Professional Development, Genesis Roberto as the Deputy Vice President of Operations, and Aimee Liu as the Deputy Vice President of Community Relations. Thank you so much for your service. It is a true testament to not only your dedication to giving back to your community, but also your time management skills. I want to also thank our executive sponsors, Grace Kim and Arpan Bhattacharya, for being such amazing role models and helping us secure financial support for the Ascend Greater Washington's 2019 and 2020 IAG conferences. Ascend Greater Washington has provided our employees opportunities to network, gain mentorship, and take leadership roles in the community for many years. We are proud to be a corporate sponsor, and we look forward to what this partnership will bring in 2021. Thank you again.
Congratulations again to Grant Thornton as the recipient of this year's Corporate Partnership Award. We look forward to continuing to collaborate with you in the future. All of our work at Ascend is completely volunteer run, and we are so thankful for all of our volunteers and committee members who give their time not only to support Ascend's initiatives and goals, but the greater Pan-Asian community as a whole. We are delighted to announce the 2020 Volunteer Appreciation Awards to 6 volunteers supporting 5 different committees and initiatives for Ascend. Alex Chang, thank you for your support on the Career Insights Data Challenge and for always being the one asking the big questions which drives our insights. Emily Kakuzo, thank you for your support on the Marketing Committee, specifically running point on social media for our Feed Your Hospital initiative. Arnold Lamb, thank you for your support on the Community Relations Committee, helping out with both our Lunar New Year and Feed Your Hospital events. Helen Liu, thank you for your support on the Professional Development Committee, especially with the operations and planning for our Women of Ascend panel event. Mike Liu, thank you for your support on the Membership Committee, co-facilitating our GW Trivia Night and at the National Ascend Convention and supporting the execution of the Lunar New Year banquet. And finally, thank you, Lydia Yu, for your endless and creative support on the Marketing Committee, developing countless graphics and promotional flyers throughout the year.
As we bring the virtual event to a close, we want to thank all of you for joining us in looking back on the year. The good and the challenging. And while the year may be ending, rest assured the work will continue, stronger than ever before. We're planning for a new year of valuable networking and mentoring events and leadership program focused on allyship, professional advancement, and further empowering Pan-Asian professionals to seek equal advancement opportunities. If you're a member or corporate partner, thank you for your continued support. Without you, none of this could be possible. If you're not a member, please consider joining. You can learn more by visiting our chapter website, ascendgw.org, or our national website, ascendleadership.org. If you're currently not one of our corporate supporters, I'd love the opportunity to discuss a potential partnership. We invite you all to stay in touch with us by following us on social media or by joining our email list. And with that, on behalf of the event planning team led by Aimee Liu and our entire Greater Washington leadership team, happy holidays, stay safe, and we'll see you next year. Good night.